Have you ever watched your own father, a man who might have built the very house you grew up in, struggle to lift a simple bag of groceries from the car? Or seen your mother, who used to carry you for hours, now hesitate at the bottom of a flight of stairs, catching her breath before she even begins? It's a painful sight, and what makes it truly confusing is that they're trying. They're doing what they've been told. They eat their eggs for breakfast. They have chicken for dinner. They're getting their protein. Yet week by week, the strength seems to just fade away. It feels like they're trying to fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. Why does this happen? Why do our bodies seem to betray us after 60, even when we're feeding them the supposed gold standard of protein? To help us answer this, we are once again honored to be with the man who has spent more than a century observing the human body, the legendary Dr. Shigaki Hinohara. Doctor, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ben. It is a privilege, and you have touched upon a quiet tragedy that I have seen in thousands of patients. They bring their bodies the right materials, but they forget the most important rule of construction. You see, building muscle is like building a house, and protein, like the eggs you mentioned, are the bricks. They are essential. But you can have a mountain of the finest bricks in the world, and you will never build a strong wall. Why? Because the problem isn't the bricks. The problem is the mortar that holds them together. After 60, our body's ability to produce this mortar declines dramatically.
The mortar, that's a powerful way to put it. So you're saying people are stocking up on bricks, but their whole structure is crumbling for a lack of this one other thing? Today, Dr. Hinohara is going to walk us through how to rebuild that entire structure. We'll talk about 3 incredible foods. The first 2 will lay the foundation, but the third one is the mortar. It's the game-changing ingredient that most Western diets have completely forgotten, and it's the key to making protein actually work again. If you or someone you love has ever felt that frustration of getting weaker, no matter how well you eat, please type "I understand" in the comments below. It truly helps us know that we're tackling the right problems for you. And if you're new to our channel, I invite you to subscribe so you don't miss the solutions that could change everything. I love that analogy, Doctor. The mortar and the bricks. It clarifies so much. So if we're going to rebuild this muscle house, as you call it, where do we begin? Every good builder knows you have to start with a solid foundation. What is the foundation for strength after 60?
The foundation is not in the gym. It is not on the dinner plate. The foundation, Ben, is in the gut. If the ground is weak, the strongest house will collapse. If the gut is unhealthy, the best protein in the world is useless. It passes right through, or worse, it creates inflammation. This is why the first food I recommend to my senior patients is not a high-powered meat, but a humble, fermented food, tempeh. Many Americans know tofu, which is processed. Tempeh is different. It is the whole soybean fermented. This process does something magical. It's like the food is partially pre-digested for you. It unlocks the nutrients, making the protein incredibly easy for an older digestive system to absorb. But more importantly, it feeds the good bacteria in your gut. It heals the foundation.
So you're saying it does 2 jobs at once. It provides the protein, and it fixes the system that's supposed to absorb the protein.
Precisely. I remember a patient, a proud 78-year-old Army veteran named Arthur, a strong man his whole life. He came to me because he couldn't understand why he was getting so frail. "Doctor," he said, "I eat a steak twice a week. I have eggs and bacon. I'm eating like a man." But he was bloated, his energy was low, and his grip strength was declining fast. His labs showed high levels of inflammation. He was loading bricks onto a cracked foundation. I asked him to make one simple change. Replace 2 of his red meat meals with a serving of tempeh, just about 4 ounces, pan-fried with a little soy sauce and ginger. He was skeptical. Bean curd, he called it. But he was desperate, so he tried. A month later, he returned. The bloating was gone. He was walking taller. He told me, "Doctor, I don't know what's in that bean curd, but I can open the pickle jar for my wife again." His body wasn't getting more protein. It was finally using the protein he gave it.
That story perfectly illustrates a concept we talk about in Western medicine, bioavailability. It's a crucial word for anyone over 60 to understand. It just means the percentage of a nutrient that your body can actually absorb and use. Arthur was eating plenty of protein from steak, but its bioavailability was low for him because his gut foundation was weak and inflamed. The fermented nature of tempeh changed the equation entirely. In fact, a 2022 study in the Journal of Gerontology, Medical Sciences, found that older adults who incorporated fermented soy products into their diet showed significant improvements in their gut microbiota profile and a measurable decrease in inflammatory markers. They didn't just get stronger, their bodies became more efficient, less inflamed engines.
Yes, you must repair the engine before you ask it to race. So, for my patients, I recommend a simple start. A half-cup serving of tempeh 2 to 3 times a week. You can crumble it into a chili, slice it onto a salad, or steam it with vegetables. It is not a miracle cure. It is simply the first most logical step. Before you feed the muscle, you must first heal the gut.
Okay, so the foundation of our muscle house is now solid and healed, thanks to gut-friendly foods like tempeh. That makes perfect sense. In any construction project, once the foundation is poured and set, you need to protect the structure from the elements, right? Things like fire and water damage. What's the equivalent for our bodies?
An excellent question. The most corrosive element inside the aging body is not something dramatic. It is a slow, quiet fire, a hidden flame called chronic inflammation. This low-grade fire silently damages muscle tissue, stiffens joints, and drains energy. To fight it, you need more than just bricks. You need a dedicated maintenance crew. And the best maintenance crew I have found comes in a very small can. Sardines. Please do not turn away because of the smell. Understand what these tiny fish do. They are a perfect package from nature. They provide the protein bricks, yes, but more importantly, they deliver a powerful dose of omega-3 fatty acids, which are the most effective firefighters for that silent inflammation. They also contain vitamin D and calcium, which are critical for muscle function, not just size.
It's fascinating that you frame it as fighting inflammation. Most people think of sardines and just think protein or calcium for bones. They don't see it as a food for muscle pain or stiffness.
Because they are looking at the symptom, not the cause. I had a patient, Eleanor, 81 years old. She told me with great sadness that she had to give up her rose garden. Her knees, she said, just felt tired and old. Her doctor found nothing structurally wrong with them. But she avoided bending down. She avoided walking. I suspected this quiet fire of inflammation. We made no other changes to her life, but we added 1 small can of sardines to her lunch 3 times per week, sometimes on a piece of toast, sometimes mixed with warm rice. 2 months later, she came to my office with a single beautiful rose from her garden. "They don't feel tired anymore," she said. "We did not change her joints. We simply put out the fire that was irritating them.
Eleanor's story is a perfect real-world example of what we're seeing in clinical research. This quiet fire Dr. Hinohara talks about is what scientists call low-grade systemic inflammation, and we can actually measure it with a blood test that looks for something called C-reactive protein, or CRP. Higher levels of CRP in seniors are directly linked to faster muscle loss, weakness, and functional decline. The omega-3s in sardines, specifically EPA and DHA, are scientifically proven to lower CRP levels. They literally calm the inflammatory storm in your body. And what Dr. Hinohara said about vitamin D is critical. We think of it for bones, but your muscles have vitamin D receptors too. Proper levels are essential for muscle contraction and strength. Without it, your muscles can't fire properly. Sardines deliver this entire synergistic package.
Synergy, that is the word. Nature provides solutions in harmony, not in isolation. A single can of sardines 2 to 3 times a week. It is a simple habit. It is the maintenance crew that keeps your muscle house safe, calm, and strong for decades to come.
This is so powerful. It's shifting the focus from just building to maintaining and protecting. The wisdom here is just incredible. You know, it's amazing to share this information, and we'd love to know who we're sharing it with. It's so encouraging for us to see where our viewers are. Please take a moment and let us know your state or country in the comments below. It is a joy to see our Healthier Daily community span the entire globe. All right, this is fantastic. We've established a solid foundation for our muscle house by healing the gut with tempeh. We've hired the best maintenance crew in the world to put out inflammatory fires with sardines. But now, doctor, it's time for the main event. In the beginning, you said there was a food that beats eggs. You said we were stocking up on bricks while ignoring the mortar. The audience has been waiting. What is this crucial building material that we've been missing?
It is something your grandmother knew, but modern science is just beginning to understand. It is not a pill or a powder from a fancy store. It is the slow-simmered, humble, and profoundly powerful collagen-rich bone broth. If eggs are the bricks, bone broth is the mortar, the wooden beams, the structural framework that holds the entire house together. After age 60, the biggest problem is not just that you're losing bricks, it's that the very framework of the house is becoming brittle. Your cartilage thins. Your tendons lose elasticity. Your joints ache. Simply forcing more protein bricks into a crumbling frame does not work. You must rebuild the frame itself. Bone broth does this. It delivers the specific building blocks for all of your body's connective tissues.
So it's not just about muscle mass, it's about the entire infrastructure that supports the muscle, the joints, the tendons, everything that makes movement possible and pain-free.
Precisely. I had a patient, a lovely 82-year-old man named George. He had recovered from pneumonia, but he told me, I just feel brittle, like a dry leaf. He was afraid to trip, afraid to move too quickly. His diet was good, full of soft proteins like eggs and fish. But he lacked that deep structural resilience. We started a simple ritual. 1 warm cup of homemade bone broth every morning before breakfast. Not a huge amount, just about 8 ounces. He called me 3 weeks later. He said, Doctor, it's the strangest thing. I don't feel brittle anymore. I feel put together. He was walking with confidence again. The bone broth was delivering the collagen and minerals his body was crying out for, rebuilding his internal framework from the inside out.
George's story is so moving because it gets to the heart of what the science is now proving. Let's break this down because it's absolutely fascinating. Bone broth is rich in collagen, which is made of specific amino acids you don't find in high amounts in muscle meat or eggs. The two big ones are glycine and proline. Think of these as the specialized workers who only build the framework. They are essential for repairing cartilage, strengthening joint linings, and even healing the gut wall. But here's the part that gets me as a physician truly excited. The amino acid glycine is a primary building block for one of the most important molecules in your body, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. That's a fancy term, meaning it tells your blood vessels to relax and widen. When your blood vessels widen, you get more blood flow, more oxygen, and more nutrients delivered directly to every part of your body, especially your muscles. So when you drink bone broth, you're not just delivering the framework materials, you're also upgrading the entire highway system to make sure the materials get delivered right where they need to go, fast. This is why people like George can feel a difference so quickly.
You explained it beautifully, Ben. It is a dual action of rebuilding and delivering.
Now, I know people will ask, does it have to be homemade broth? Or can I use one of those collagen powders? High-quality, grass-fed collagen powder is a good and convenient option. But Dr. Hinohara and I agree that if you can, the real broth is superior. The slow simmering process extracts not just collagen peptides, but also other crucial minerals like magnesium and phosphorus and gelatin, which is incredibly soothing for the gut lining. And one very important, responsible note, because broth is made from bones and connective tissue, it contains purines. If you have a history of gout or significant kidney disease, you should speak with your physician first. For most, it's perfectly safe, but you may need to stick to a smaller serving size and ensure you're using a low-sodium recipe. For everyone else, it's one of the safest, most effective tools for healthy aging.
Yes, be gentle. Listen to your body. 1 warm cup a day. That is the ritual. It is the habit of rebuilding your house, one day at a time.
So let's put it all together. What have we really learned today? The path to getting your stability and your functional leg strength back isn't about just eating more protein. It's about building a smarter house. It starts with the foundation, healing your gut. Then you protect it from the quiet fire of inflammation. And finally, you use the real secret, collagen-rich bone broth, to build the framework that gives you flexible joints and true power. This is the strategy that really builds lasting leg strength after 60 because it works with your body, not against it.
That is the practical lesson. But if I may, I would like to share a thought from my heart with all of you. In our modern world, we are taught to fight. We fight disease. We fight aging. We attack our problems with force. But after a century of life, I have learned that true healing is not a battle. It is a homecoming. Your body is not your enemy. It is your oldest companion. It is trying to speak to you through its aches and its fatigue. The great mistake is to silence it. The great wisdom is to listen. When you take the time to gently simmer a broth, you're doing more than making food. You're creating a ritual of care. You're sending a message to every cell in your body that says, I am listening. I am here to help. This kindness is a more powerful medicine than any pill. True strength is not just the power to lift, but the resilience to bend and the wisdom to nourish. That is the garden you must tend to.
Healing is a homecoming. Doctor, that's a profoundly beautiful way to look at it. Thank you for that. And that philosophy of listening to your body is the perfect way to frame our final and most important piece of advice. Our conversation here is meant to empower you, to give you ideas, but it is not a one-size-fits-all prescription. So please, as an act of listening to your own unique body, if you have a health condition, especially gout or any kidney concerns we mentioned, have a real conversation with your doctor. They know your personal story. Working with them is the safest, most effective way to build a plan that helps you regain your health and leg strength. If this conversation truly resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone you care about. And be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss out on more of these conversations. Finally, our question for you. What is one thing you heard today that changed the way you think about your own health? We would be honored to read your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next video.